Have you ever made your entire family dance to Walker Hayes?
No.
Only
my belief. Only my belief family.
If you know we're suckers and we'll do it.
Yeah, like
because we don't want to hear it from you the rest of the trip.
Yeah, I'll be like, what are y'all doing? Like, you're supposed to be those people.
All together now, all together now, all together now, all together now, all together now.
All right, welcome back to another Believe Vacations article video series. My name is Brian Pavlick. Thank you for being a believer with us. As you can see on the screen, she is back. This is one of my all-time favorite friends on this team, in life, whatever you want to call it, Amanda Wheeling. Amanda, I am so happy to see you again. How have you been, girl?
I have been so good, so very busy. 2 children running around, Disney life, but so thankful and so fantastic.
You know, we run everybody's contact information on the screen when we can, your Instagram account and things as far as people finding you. Do yourself a favor, folks, before you even watch this interview, just go look at all of her posts, her bookings, her thing. She is, it's not just one area of what she is all over the place, all over the different properties with different size families, groups. I mean, it's sickening is what it is. I mean, how well you're doing, but no, just she is one of our brightest stars, one of our best agents, and of course, just a good soul. So that's why we are here today. And I always like talking to you and finding a fun topic that you are, well, you're the expert at a lot of things, let's just be honest. But as you see by the photo behind her, she has a very large family. And when they all get together, they all like to do trips together. That particular picture is in Hawaii. That's a totally different story with Alani and all that good stuff. But Amanda is really, really good at helping large families and vacations and planning like that. So that's what we're going to talk about today. If you are one of those families who, Brian, it's me and the kids and the wife, and we're also going to bring the aunt and the uncle and the grandparents and all, we don't know where to start. This is where you start. We're going to hear some great advice from Amanda on various different topics of booking from start to finish. And she's going to even tell you some personal stories about how she did it. So, Amanda, I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to just hearing the stories because you have some of the greatest stories in the world. But before we get into your actual stories, let's just set it up. All right. When you go with your, quote, large family, how many people are in your family when you guys go on these wonderful trips?
So there are 13 of us. So my mom and dad, and then my brother has 2 girls. And they are, well, one is 14 and one will be 12. Okay. And then my sister, as I'm looking at the picture to make sure I don't forget anybody.
Them all, that's fine.
My sister is married and has 2 little ones, and they are kind of stacked with my brother. So then they go 10 and 9. So they kind of cross over birthdays. And then I have the youngest. So there's my husband, Alan. And then I have Emmett, who is 6, and Charleston, who is 3.
And we hear from Emmett and Charleston all the time when you send us voice messages in the car. And it's so good to always hear those kids. They're lovely.
I'm singing.
They participate in conversation just as much as you. You know, Hawaii being one of the things, you know, where all have you guys gone as a family? And this can exclude, you know, don't just limit it to Disney or anything like that. I know you guys have a fun little tradition you've told me about, but where all do you guys go as a large group? Because especially travel these days, it's incredible to get everybody together, getting on the same page to go anywhere. Where do you guys go, Amanda?
So it's really fun. My parents, backstory, now give us trips for Christmas. They realize that we don't need all the extra, especially being older. They'll do great stockings and all the things for the kids, but we always get it at the very end of the night. It's like 7 o'clock at night on Christmas. People look forward to the videos, and there's puzzles and I don't even know, charades, all the things. And so we get to guess where we're heading for the year. So my parents have brought us to St. John, the Virgin Islands, obviously Hawaii. We've done Boston Bar Harbor. We've done San Diego, San Francisco, and Disneyland. We did San Diego, Disneyland. I'm trying to think, oh my gosh, Disney Cruise Line 3 times. So we'll go to Disney and then we'll head to the Disney Cruise Line. Disney World, obviously. Yellowstone is coming up this summer.
Yeah, you were telling me about that. That's awesome.
Yeah, we're big into hiking now that our kids are a little bit older. So we are going to hit Park City, Utah, Salt Lake City, Utah, and then we'll head into like Yellowstone, the Grand Tetons. So yeah, we've done it all. It's a lot of fun to guess, and we just love to travel together.
So the final thing before we start making this more Disney focused and all that is now you got to talk about, especially travel these days. We were just talking about, when you guys went to Hawaii, there was all this COVID testing funds and stuff or another, and that's just the world we live in. Now we're talking with you about just multiple family members of different ages and stuff. What about flights, transportation? You can even start tailoring this more into Disney now if you want, about just, does everybody come from the same kind of airport, meets up, drives, and then transportation to the park? Just kind of explain getting to your destination, whether it's outside of Disney properties or not. You take it from there.
So when we fly, so like when we did Hawaii, my dad sets us up as a group because we are actually all in the Charlotte Huntersville area. Yeah. My parents and my sister are neighbors. My brother lives 10 minutes away, and then we are the furthest, around 12 minutes from my family. So we all meet up at the same airport at Charlotte Douglas. It's huge.
Yeah.
And from there, we make sure that we are at like security together. We make sure that we are helping hands. If Charleston wants to hold my brother's hand, she's going to grab my brother's hand and he's going to go with it. We make sure we always help each other with any carry-ons, especially because I have a stroller plus car seats. So they're always so awesome to make sure that we're all there for each other. We make it through security. We always eat together. And then as far as, well, the seating situation, you never know what cousin wants to sit together. So we usually have a piece of paper with our boarding and our seats, and we make sure it happens prior to getting on the flight so that we're not holding anybody up.
True.
And that way everyone can sit together. As far as Disney, we actually drive. We are about 8 hours away. Yep. So same thing, we get up around, we say, hey, we're meeting at 5 o'clock, and we'll load up and we can be to Disney World by 2 at the latest with stops. I have my favorite stops, so I always add that.
Of course you do.
I do. I have safe spots. Like I have clean, safe spots. So we always kind of stop relatively close to each other. Mm-hmm. So we're all together kind of around the same time. Or if we're not, like my sister's a really fast driver, like really fast. So we'll just text and be like, hey, we're at mile marker, whatever, so that we all know, okay, we're in like a 30-minute time frame of each other.
Right. All right. There you go. It's that Charlotte International Speedway that comes out in her, I guess.
Yeah, she can move.
There you go. Very cool. All right. I have another question I'll ask you later off camera about the whole family thing, but it's fine. It'll be good. All right. You've kind of discussed everything getting arranged and how many and all that. All right. There's your setup. Now, if we're going to Disney, last I checked, there is not a room per se for 13 people. So we're talking about, we're going to have to look for multiple room suites or just multiple rooms and all that. So this is where an agent like you really comes into play, because you're going to be able to help find rooms. So let's talk now. The steps of reserving. Do you guys do multiple rooms? Do you do these 2-3 bedroom villas so everybody's kind of together? What's kind of the wheeling process of, here's where we're going to be as far as lodging? Let's start there and we'll kind of spin off of that.
Yeah. So typically my parents are new DVC members. So, but we don't really use it, to be honest. Like we'll do shorter trips with it, or we'll do Alani. We'll bank in our points. So when we go to Disney, we really book rooms. Pretty much what we do is we start, okay, what's our goal, right? Are we trying to we are broke droppers. Mm-hmm. So we will open that park. Do we want to stay on the Skyliner because that's where we want to hit? Or do we agree that moderate is the way to go? Yeah. 90% of the time we are a moderate family. Port Orleans Riverside is our favorite because of the convenience to get to Magic Kingdom. And from there, what we'll do is we'll always request the same building. So say my sister's like, hey, I don't really care. I'm going standard view. But my parents have the king bed, and those are different locations within that building. And I'm like, well, I can want a pool view. Totally fine. What we do is we just make sure that we are all together as a travel party and we're in the same building.
There you go.
I always request the same building. I always like cross-check that just to make sure that we're near each other. Because moderate resorts are large, we
Mm.
don't ever want to be really far apart.
Yeah.
But sometimes it is nice when I have to get my kids down that they can kind of escape into our own room and then see each other at 7 o'clock the next morning. So
Absolutely.
really, we're never apart from each other.
Have you guys ever stayed in the villas, 2 bedroom, 3 bedrooms before? And how does that usually work for your family?
Yeah, so we actually really love villas. The great thing about villas is the kids kind of take over the whole family room area. You do have a full kitchen, so when we're driving, we can bring in all of kind of like our snacks and things and kind of reload every single day because you have that space.
Yeah.
The other cool thing is coffee. Let's be honest, we can kickstart it really, really early for a larger family, if that makes sense. It's not like you're making one little Keurig cup every single time.
There you go.
And the other great thing is they have hallways. So with these hallways, you can really get your kids asleep. So if I usually take, my parents are really sweet and they'll either give us the king size so I can get my kids down, or I usually take the 2 queens just because I can shift children.
Yes.
And like in Grand Floridian, it was fantastic. It was actually a hallway, and then you open the door and there was another hallway. So those queen beds were off. You can't hear anything going on. So all the kids can run around and play and do the things, but I can still get Charleston to sleep at a decent hour. In Disney, you never know when they're going to fall asleep. Bay Lake Tower has huge space, fantastic space. And then of course, Riviera is one of our other ultimate favorites.
Are there numerous showers, toilets, sinks for everybody?
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
When we stayed at Grand Floridian, I have a video I posted of a room tour, and not only did it have like in the master, first of all, you could have slept in the closet if you wanted to. This master closet was insane. I'm not sure why you need that space,
right?
But you can store some suitcases in there. And then it had the whole bathroom area, a toilet area, 2 showers, and then on the other side it had 2 showers with the pocket doors. So really, you're never seeing anybody. Like you can go in and out, close people off, and get ready as fast as you can.
Wonderful. Okay. So multiple rooms, same building, or the big villas. And
exactly.
Right. Very cool. Good advice always. Now you've booked those. That's great. You as an agent, now your client says to you, Amanda, we want this reservation for this dining, that, or the other. Now, dining can get really fun for us agents, all those early mornings and bookings and things, especially if they're the highly coveted ones. I can only imagine what it's like for multiple people.
Yeah.
You're the expert. So you're going to tell us right now, how do we get these dining reservations, 1, for all these people, and 2, all synced up together and all, because you can't just look for a table of 13, 15 when we get up in the morning to reserve. So you're gonna have to piece it together. How do you do this? How can a family do this if they don't use an agent? And unwisely, by the way, but we're giving advice here. How do we piece it all together for dining?
Yeah, so what I do is, everyone knows the Disney dining puzzle is no joke. It is quite interesting. So I prep a lot, especially with my family. So with my family, we go to Disney often together. So we really pull each other in and out of what we really want, the park reservations, all the things. When I am booking for clients, I definitely look into changing the lead guest a little bit. So I will make, for instance, Brian, you're my lead guest. I'm going to make you for a party of 6. And then I'm going to look really close and quickly for a time that's either stacked on top of each other or right next to each other. Right. And I have to get tables of anywhere from 4 to 6, depending on which restaurant we're at. I did one in May and there were 18 people. And so I pretty much had to split it from a 5 and a 5 to a 4 and a 4, just depending on which dining. Now, the good thing is they have started to open larger tables again, but during the major pandemic closings, it was really, really tricky. Now I can maybe get a table of 8, but I still try to split evenly. And that way people can have a kids table, or, you can one time rotate and sit with your sister, and the next meal you're rotating and sitting with your uncle, if that makes sense. The other great thing I always tell clients is, if you have multiple reservations that are kind of stacked that I did, go to the cast member
Absolutely.
and explain to them, hey, we had to separate our dining reservations. We would really love to sit together. They are fantastic. They might say it might take a few more minutes to pull some tables, but 90% of the time I can get you either right next to each other with a cast member working with you, or they'll even extend your table and put you all together when they realize that you're family.
And that's the thing. I mean, I've actually told people, like, we were using Tony's earlier, so let's just keep going with Tony's. If we've got 12 people and I've got 7 on one and 5 on another, or whatever, 6 one way, half a dozen the other, literally. I've always said, actually, you know what? Maybe even a few hours prior to the reservation, if you're in the area, go in, talk to the front desk or the cast member and just say, hey, we have these reservations coming up. Is there any way you can put us all together? And then that way they already have it in the system.
Yep.
Okay, this is actually going to be a party of 12 instead of 2 6s, and we'll put them together and stuff like that. So Amanda gave you the best advice we've always given people. When you are on the grounds, yes, you can call us, your agents, far away. We are here for you and we will help you. Always ask a cast member. They usually know the ins and outs a lot better, and they're right there on the ground in real time and can help you, whether that's at your resort, whether that's at the restaurants or anything. Just ask. People are friendly. They want to
They're
help.
so nice. They're humans. I tell people all the time, I'm like, rule number 1, if you encounter an issue, if I can't correct it right away, I always say, hey, if guest services is kind of quiet, go right there and ask them. They're the nicest people. You just kind of have to explain and breathe a little bit. I will tell you, Whispering Canyon is at Wilderness Lodge. They are so accommodating all the time. Ohana is really accommodating. Tony's is super accommodating. Be Our Guest has always really, because you can get those huge tables right there. So as long as you just explain that you're together, they're going to help you out. They're going to try their hardest to accommodate you.
Yeah. And you know what? We're through the hard part of this whole thing. We've only got just kind of one more section of, large groups, excuse me. The preparation and getting everybody together. That's the hard part. When you're in the parks, I don't think it's actually as hard, keeping everybody. Now, you've got 13 people. That's 13 unique individual personalities and wants and desires and likes and dislikes and all that. But now that we are actually into the park, I think it's actually a little easier just to go and experience the day. So let's jump into this, Amanda. We now have this wonderful My Disney Experience tool and now with lightning lanes and reservations and things of that nature. Let's go ahead. One of the biggest questions I always get is, does each individual or family or reservation get their own My Disney Experience, or do you link it to one? What does the professional agent say?
I link it to one. Now, if somebody, for instance, if you have grandparents that really want to do a dining by themselves,
yes,
I will ask them to join friends and family. When they create their own My Disney Experience, though, I reiterate, do not touch anything. I have people deleting park reservations sometimes, and that was when park reservations were really hard to get.
Yes.
They're deleting dining by accident, and I encourage them to play in the app. However, I always work off of one of your apps, simply because I can link you as friends and family. You can view all the plans, but that way I'm not trying to log into 6 different apps. No. You can literally use your husband's or wife's app, if that makes sense. PhotoPass, I link to one person, so they can download them. I tell them to do an album share together. It's just a lot more convenient to do one My Disney Experience.
Yeah, and for us as agents, please, one My Disney Experience. We're helping you and going from there. Yes, please.
Please don't touch anything. I've had like horror stories.
How do you do with the new Disney Genie Plus, and they can kind of those reservations and things like that? Everybody on the one you said, and kind of go from there, or even now you got to have some discussions about, okay, everybody do you huddle all 13? Is it like a football huddle and we go, okay, what are we going to do? Do we want to do Big Thunder at 10:40? Do we want to do Haunted Mansion at 9:50? How does that work? Or do you split it off?
So everyone has one in my family, in My Disney Experience. So we become friends and family. sometimes we remove because I travel a lot more than my sister does to Disney or my brother. So they might not want to see all my plans all the time, but it's really easy to just link and unlink.
Good.
From there, I handle all the Genie passes simply because we do have a conversation. We're like, hey, Splash Mountain has to happen. So we'll say whatever we can get. We know we usually eat lunch around that 11:15 time, simply to not have hangry children.
Yeah.
And then, so we know kind of how to back in. Again, when we rope drop, which I encourage, we can knock out a lot of rides and then continue adding like Genie throughout that afternoon. So I try to get a Jungle Cruise or a Peter Pan, just because I know I can knock out necessarily Space Mountain, Splash Mountain, and even Mine Train. When we do parks together, we do stay together, I would say 90% of the time. It's fun. It's fun to get the whole family in one picture, right? It's so fun to see us all stacked together in Haunted Mansion, or to see us on Buzz Lightyear and we're competing against each other. It's a lot of fun. I will tell you that with Rider Swap, I encourage people this is a huge helpful hint that I tell them. Charleston cannot ride Mine Train. She cannot ride Splash Mountain.
Wow.
So what we do is that's her moment with either my mom, who might not like that ride, to go get her little accessories, right? The little $6 earrings that are super cheesy, get her popcorn bucket that she loves, or we ride rides with her. So we'll take her to the carousel or Dumbo or Winnie the Pooh, and not saying that she's not going to do them again, but she just thinks the world that she's having those moments of her own. So that's what I was told too. Like, if you have huge age ranges, to embrace that you get to have that moment like on the carousel 3 times over, because she thinks it's the coolest thing that's ever happened to her.
Amanda, you're the best. You really are. You've got so much wealth of information. You've come so far with all of us here at Believe. And it's always fun to hear your stories, your experiences, because of just the care, the personal attention. And, when I use my phrase, the magic doesn't start the minute you see the castle. It starts when you meet somebody out from Believe. You're the epitome of that, because you really do. You take I know. It's early Friday morning.
You're
Stop. We talked about crying earlier. Stop. No, but it's because of the care and the attention that you put into all your families and your details and stuff. And it's not just when you post on Instagram about, I booked this, I booked that. It's not a personal pride of or whatever. It really is, I am helping a family make dreams come true. And we appreciate you for that. And it is a big task, especially being that kind of coordinator for 13, 15, 20 something people. I can only imagine family reunions. My goodness gracious. People have to coordinate all that. So as we close, you being kind of the stop. I didn't mean to make you
so sweet.
Well, you're a good friend, so I'm gonna give credit where it's due. When you and now you got me flustered. What's your one single biggest piece of advice just holding everybody together? And it doesn't even have to be rides. It doesn't have to be whatever. Just, okay, if you are the family member who's going to spearhead this whole thing, one, God, you're in our prayers. 2, what's just that one piece of advice so that you're not either just overwhelmed, stressed out, because there's going to be 13, 15 different opinions. There's going to be all kinds of different things. How do you just do it? What's your one biggest piece of advice?
Ooh, that it's okay to take breaks. I kind of went off of your last post about taking naps in the parks and things. It is okay to take breaks. My biggest thing that I tell people is, if somebody wants to stop and grab an ice cream, but you're not hungry, it's okay if you want to wait in the line, or if you want to say, hey, I'm going to move a little bit ahead of you because Tower Terror is literally wrapped to the street. It's okay. It's okay to kind of tag team things. It's okay to say, you know what? Charleston is sleeping, so I'm going to go and sit over here. Can you take Emmett with you for Toy Story Mania?
Yeah.
There are a lot of times that Alan, my husband, cannot always make every trip because of work. So I have to rely on my family a lot to help me. And Emmett always knows to be polite and ask, can I go on Toy Story Mania with Lulu? That's my sister.
There you go.
And yes, but that's what I have to tell parents and families, is that it's going to get done. It's going to happen. It's okay to take breaks, especially like, those are my favorite memories of the sleeping kid in the stroller, or, I'm going to grab an adult beverage at baseline because Emma wants a pretzel. It's okay.
Right.
The hidden gems are some of the best memories that you could possibly make with each other. So just embrace them and have fun.
There it is. We're going to take a break now. All right, there you go. Making our final debut. Oh, poor thing. I know I've taken Mom away from you too much. I tell you what, we're going to say goodbye. All right, Charleston, I'm going to see you hopefully soon. I always like seeing your pictures and everything. I always like hearing your voice in the car. But Amanda,
singing.
always,
you like that singing?
she's so precious. I can't wait for my next boxer when I hear you in the background, dear. It's going to be so fun, Charleston. We love hearing you. All right, Amanda, thank you again. Let's let you get back to mom time. Appreciate all you do for Believe Vacations. You're truly one of the best, and we just appreciate all you do to lead us and to give us advice like this. And y'all, I'm telling you, if you have questions, and we've run Amanda's contact information, ask her, ask one of these Believe agents. We work so well together as a team, as a large family.
We have a lot of fun.
We all get together, my goodness, getting dining reservations and rooms. So we have the experience in all this. So my best to Amanda, your family, of course, as I always say to you, being married to you, Alan is at the top of my prayer list daily. And he knows that too. But
he knows it.
But
There's
for all
no
of us
lies on
here,
that one.
for all of us here, thank you, Amanda. And for everybody else, we'll see you real soon. Thank you.
Bye, guys. Like the eating one that I did, the reel of everyone eating in the parks, that's so funny.
How have you not marketed Wheels Reels yet?
I don't know. You're a genius.
No, it's just it's been there. We've called it Wheels Reels. Folks, sign up for Wheels Reels today.
I am literally going to hashtag all of my reels right now.
And when you get money for this,
And then I'm going to tag you.
you'll remember the small people in Alabama.